Okay, we're gonna get started here. We'll let folks get rolling. Wow, this is trippy. Hamadaki Daiku Kinde Chante Washte Choose Environmental Network, and we have a press conference here, and this is a press conference with a number of statements provided by a number of our leaders of the camps, of groups, organizations, and tribes that are involved in the Ocheti Shakowin camp, in the Sacred Stone camp, here on the frontline fight against Dakota Access Pipeline. And so we want to provide a time for our leaders to share their response statements on the recent announcement, order that was put out by the governor of North Dakota that was referencing a mandatory eviction of the Ocheti Shakowin camps on the north side of the Cannonball River. And so we're going to allow this time. We're going to have each representative is going to speak, and then after we'll have a Q&A where I'll help facilitate, and we'll go from there. This is not, each one of these representatives are representative of different camps, groups, or tribes, so please be mindful when they introduce themselves that you attribute their title correctly, and that they collectively do not speak on behalf of the Standing Rock Sioux tribe, although we do have a representative that is a spokesperson for the tribe that is here, and that's Phyllis Young. So everyone good? Thank you. We'll get started, and I'll ask first and foremost our Matui Phyllis Young to start us off here.
Good evening, and thank you for being here. I would like to say that the governor of North Dakota has no jurisdiction in treaty territory, and that we feel that no matter what his position is, he is in a conflict of interest. He has interest in the railroad claims that we have that we'd like to get to federal court with. He has oil development and wells in the Bakken, and so we would kindly ask the governor to remove himself as a spokesperson, maybe giving up his seat early. But we are proceeding with, the tribe has hired a former federal investigator to work for the tribe, specifically in pursuing charges at many different levels. One of the drafts that has been completed now are formal criminal charges against the sheriff in Morton County, as well as the police officers, and under RICO and terrorism, and we will be pursuing those charges in the World Court, the United Nations Human Rights Council, as well as the military court. So we're not going through the federal district court as we usually and historically have done. So we're bringing in the Red Cross. We're proposing that we have a team of people in the medical field that will be right on site to address any of our people who need their health concerns addressed. So we are prepared. We have lived for generations in this kind of setting. We have survived, and so no one has to make the human gestures of great concern that you have over the lives of our people. We live there. That is our camp. That is Section 106 under NHPA. That is treaty territory, and we will provide for our own people there. And as we increase the litigation, we will be addressing the governor for his conflict of interest, particularly to call the National Guard on behalf of his own private business. So North Dakota needs to shape up on their laws. This is Dakota territory. This is treaty territory, and no one has jurisdiction here except for our people. So right. Thank you.
Can I ask our speaker, please introduce yourself and who you're representing.
Buju, my name is Tara Hauska. I'm the National Campaigns Director of Honor the Earth. I'm a Anishinaabe from Couchiching First Nation. So the governor acted on what the administration gave them the right to do, right? So the administration said that they were going to subject us to local law enforcement despite the increased violence on behalf of North Dakota over the past few months, which has gotten to the point now that they're actually trying to kill people. They're using water hoses on people in below freezing temperatures. They almost took a girl's arm off with the concussion grenades they're throwing at us. And the response of the administration was to say that we will be treated as trespassers on treaty lands. Indigenous peoples will be treated as trespassers on indigenous lands, and that we will be subject to local law enforcement. So with that, now the governor has said that we will be in a situation in which we're being evacuated, and that they gave a whole list of reasons. He gave a whole list of reasons, right, of why he was doing this. And it was all about so much concern for the people here. So this concern for safety and this concern for well-being, and that they're so worried about Native people living in a traditional way that we're going to freeze to death and that we're somehow not going to be able to provide for ourselves. And the solution of that is to kick us off. The solution of that is to cut off emergency services and to try to charge people for coming into camp, for coming to support us. It's appalling on so many levels. This is like this kind of collective memory, I think, of Indigenous people being pushed off treaty lands. It's happened again and again, as we've seen in direct actions. That 1851 treaty camp, that day was a collective memory of being pushed off, and now it's being enacted by the federal and state governments. So here we are in 2016, but that history is still happening. And I think we've reached a point where, I've said this before, enough is enough. These are Lakota and Dakota and Nakota lands. These are indigenous lands. We have been pushed around by the government since they first arrived on our shores. And this should not be the conversation in 2016. We shouldn't be having the conversation of violating treaty rights and treating us as less than, throwing our people in dog kennels and strip searching them and violating their human rights. That should not be happening, but it is. So enough is enough, and we're standing together with thousands of allies and supporters from around the world. Millions of people are following the fight at Standing Rock. They are standing with Standing Rock. And our fight will continue. And I think, this violence is because they're afraid. They're afraid of the power there is in prayer. They're afraid of the love we have in our hearts for the people and for the future generations.
Thank you.
My name is Faith Spotted Eagle. My Dakota name is Tonka Inajiwi, which is Standing Stone. And I am a member of the Ihanktuan, who are signatories on the 1851 treaty. I'm the chair of the Ihanktuan Treaty Committee, and our statement tonight is that the state definitely has no authority on federal lands. They have no authority on treaty land, and in the guise of worrying about the loss of human lives, it is so transparently clear that they're doing it to protect the pipeline at the cost of potential violation of human rights. We had a great response beyond the 7,000 to 10,000 people that are here with us in this wonderful day in the winter. And I just received a message from Representative Grijalva's office, and he indicated this evening that they have asked for a meeting with the White House and the DOJ, and so we have replied in turn on behalf of the treaty committees and the treaty councils that we be there in representation of the 1851 treaty. So we feel good that the government, at a prime time in our lifetime, that the treaty is at the forefront. And so that has never been, we've never been able to do that. And so we thank all of you for your help in bringing this very important 1851 treaty. From Ihanktuan, our interest is that we have Aboriginal land claim on the east side of the river that was established by the U.S. Court of Claims, and so it's a proven document. The other thing is, at the 1851 treaty, our authority extends to the east bank of the Missouri River. We also have water rights, water security to the riverbed. And so it's very, very apparent that water security is being violated. Water meaning not only us, but the 17 million people downstream who have become our allies. So it's as it should be, because it's a legal chess game, and it's more and more transparent as the other side tries to make up reasons to be concerned about us. But I think the biggest thing is the legal liability. They don't want to be responsible for anything. But on behalf of my Ihangtwa people, who are the end of the camp people of the Ocheti Shakoni, we are most grateful that you are standing with us in the defense, along with the other campfires that have come forward of the 7 council fires. At a historic time in history, we're standing together, and we've dreamed about this time. And so we have the greatest feeling that those dreams, those prayers are traveling swiftly, and they will be going with us to the White House and the Department of Justice. On December 8th, we're going to be testifying before a Human Rights Council to further our work with the UN, and other entities are stepping forward. So there's just a lot going on. There is a State Department meeting that has been scheduled for the tribes. So behind the scenes, you may not hear these things, but we're working hard, and we appreciate those people that are at the camp every single day, particularly on days like this. So thank you so much for standing with us and defending our 1851 treaty. Wopira.
I said hello relatives, my name is Eagle Woman. My English name is Candy Mosset. I'm Mandan Hidatsa Rikara. From just northwest of here, the Fort Berthold Reservation, which is in the Bakken Formation, where the proposed oil for the proposed pipeline is coming from. And what I want to say is that Governor Jack Dalrymple and all of his people need to worry a lot less about us as water protectors and more about why Nationwide Permit 12 was allowed to be used in an over 1,100 mile long pipeline that cuts across 4 states. Nationwide Permit 12 is usually used for areas an acre or less in size, like a boat ramp. Any permit underneath that should be rescinded immediately. I'll reiterate that he doesn't have any jurisdiction in this area, as you just heard. And we need, at the very, very, very least, a full environmental impact statement for a project of this scope and size. Also, if they're so concerned about our safety, as they keep talking about, they need to clear that bridge and open up 1806, because they're the ones that are blocking the roads, blocking emergency services from coming in. And when we tried to remove it, we were attacked violently by them. We could be a lot safer if they weren't out there with their guns and their weapons and their ammunition against unarmed water protectors with our sage and our drums and our love for each other. Our strength is in our unity. We're not afraid, and we're not going to be going anywhere, especially in the middle of a blizzard in North Dakota. Who in their right minds is going to put out a statement to tell everybody to move and to leave, to be afraid of being exposed to the elements in the winter and telling us to leave in the middle of a blizzard? That's ridiculous. So Governor Jack Dalrymple and all his people need to seriously sit down and rethink what they thought they knew. And understand, we'll be praying for all of you, because you need our prayers the most. Matigirats, thank you.
Kamitakiapi, Angela Bivens, Imachiapi, Damakota. My name is Angela Bivens, and I'm the ground coordinator for the Water Protector Legal Collective, an initiative of the National Lawyers Guild, and I'm an attorney from Colorado, and I'm Santi Dakota by heritage. And I'm here to represent the interests of the water protectors that we have been on the ground for the last 3 months, providing legal services and support for the over 500 arrestees, over which we believe Morton County does not have jurisdiction, because most of the arrests occurred on 1851 treaty land, and that is a defense that we are willing to uphold in these unlawful charges against our peaceful water protectors. I want to say a few things about the governor's declaration today, that the governor is laying the legal framework to use extreme force to disrupt and harm thousands of peaceful water protectors. And we, as we have for months, the Water Protector Legal Collective will work to defend the rights of people to pray and to act together to defend treaty land and the water which gives us life. This is a misuse of emergency declarations to justify an armed invasion of a peaceful encampment. We will use every legal tool at our disposal to resist and defend ourselves from this clear and present threat of militarized action. We all know the story of the Bundys who took over the Malheur Wildlife Refuge with guns and occupied that refuge for over 100 days. Neither the federal or the state government attempted to evict them at all. North Dakota's constant treatment of Native Americans as second-class citizens could not be better illustrated by this Orwellian attempt to justify their racist discrimination and their conduct, which is egregious in its use of unauthorized force. Today, the Water Protector Legal Collective filed an injunction in federal court to restrain the Morton County Sheriff's Department from continued use of this unauthorized force. The use of impacted missions such as beanbags, such as rubber bullets, such as concussion grenades, water hoses, all of the hell that was unleashed on our peaceful water protectors on November 20th in sub-freezing conditions. The disregard for human life that the Morton County Sheriff's Department displayed that evening remains appalling. And the Water Protector Legal Collective will continue to do everything in our power legally through the court system to protect our rights to peacefully assemble and express our First Amendment freedom of speech. Wopita Tonka.
My name is Soldier Boy. I'm government representative of the Sioux Nation of Indians. I'm also a headsman for the Ochete Shakoni Council. And I just got a couple things that I want to read real quick that I have. This is a notification, official legal reminder to all whom it may concern that the Sioux Nation of Indians, which is the original treaty name, 51 and 68 Laramie treaties, is acknowledged by the U.S. federal government by the Treaty of 1868. Sioux Nation of Indians, Dakota Territory of 1868, and I, Akichita Hokshida, George Manape Lemire, am a recognized government representative of the Sioux Nation of Indians, as well as by the United Nations, along with 11 other nations that are acknowledged as the Great Turtle Island Federation, and the IGO Intergovernmental Organization accredited to the Indigenous Forum on May 21st, 2013 at 11:36 a.m. Using the proper treaty name being Sioux Nation of Indians, Dakota Territory of 1868, ratified in Sioux Country. Sioux Nation of Indians of Sioux Country, acknowledged by the United Nations, which is on international level, and claiming country status. The evidence of this is the Treaty of 1868, a certified copy, Sioux Nation of Indians, Sioux Country. The map of the Sioux Country, which I currently possess, is judicially established by the U.S. Court of Claims. Navigation rights affirmed in Indian Country, and the second copy from the Supreme Court. Samuel A. Worcester versus the state of Georgia, 1832 writ of acknowledgement from the United Nations, 36 a.m. the Sioux Nation of Indians, Sioux Country, member of the Great Turtle Island Federation, acknowledged as an IGO intergovernmental organization accredited to the Indigenous Forum. Green versus Babbitt, 1995, Supreme Court, the failure of the federal government to recognize a particular group of Indians as a tribe cannot deprive that group of vested treaty rights. Here's my ID. Treaties are evidence of sovereign powers by international law, and it takes two sovereign nations and countries to enter into a treaty, and three or more to constitute a convention, which is multilateral treaty agreement. Given these facts, the assertion of government powers of authority then by the treaty nations, Sioux Nation of Indians, as well as sovereign immunities and diplomatic, are relevant according to international law. And since 2 of the Sioux Nation of Indians government representatives, ambassadors, and diplomats are now listed, with the 11 other representing 11 nations and countries as being registered with the United Nations and being members of the Great Turtle Island Federation, then only reinforce the IGO intergovernmental organization status, and it is proof that there is an established government-to-government relationship between the respective nations and countries operating together as a federation. The United States Constitution specifically mentions the relationship between the United States federal government and Native American tribes 3 times. Article 1, Section 2, Clause 3 states that the representatives and direct taxes shall be apportioned among several states, excluding Indians not taxed. According to Story's commentary on the U.S. Constitution, there were Indians also in several and probably in most of the states at that period who were not treated as citizens and yet who did not form a part of independent communities or tribes, exercising general sovereignty and powers of government within the boundaries of the states. Article 1, Section 8 of the Constitution states that the Congress shall have the power to regulate commerce with foreign nations and among the several states and with Indian tribes, determining that Indian tribes were separate from the federal government, the state, and foreign nations. And the 14th Amendment, Section 2, amends the apportion of representatives in Article 1, Section 2. The international community understands exactly what has happened to us in our lands. Under the current status, we are considered immigrants in our own lands, being controlled by immigrants of other countries. If our people and our leaders understand this and realize that the correct path to true sovereignty is here, then we must now begin to become what our Dakota name means, allies. We must, under the 7 council fires, the Ocheti Shakoni, become one. And I thank you all for allowing me to give you this information. It is my prayer every day for my people to understand that it is time to be one with true sovereignty. And obviously, what's this guy's name? Jack?
Jack.
It's beneath me to address the governor of a state. But obviously it's time for him to realize that too. So true sovereignty is here. The Treaty of 51 runs up to the Heart River. And everything that has happened between the start of this and now has been illegal. And because I exist and several others of us, who I will not relinquish the names of those people, because we exist, treaty enforcement is here. And so I thank the ladies and my elders. Forgive me for speaking before you. But it's time that Jack realizes that he's facing some serious things. He might need to ask the State Department. Matakias.
Midakyapi. My name is LaDonna Brable Allen Tamakawa Shari for Good Earth Woman. I am enrolled member Standing Rock Sioux Tribe. Today I received the notice that the governor issued a notice saying that he will not plow the roads to the camp. And then next I received the notice that he is making a declaration to evacuate the camps because he was concerned about our safety. And for this, those 2 statements contradict each other. Okay, it's a blizzard. The roads are bad outside. It's all right. You can go in the ditch, but we're worried about your safety. I just want to say that very comically. The thing that I need to stress, as other people stressed, is our homelands have always been here. We have always been here. We know how to live in winter. We thank you for worrying about us, but we have been here always, and you haven't worried about us last year and the year before and the year before. North Dakota is our home. South Dakota is our home. We have been here for thousands of years. We understand North Dakota winter. Second, because my first and foremost as a historian, I can only go back to history. When they first issued the order to tell the Indian people to get back to the reservation, there was a blizzard. And the winter was hard. And the Indian people said, who moves in a blizzard? Now we come to 2016, we're saying the same thing. Who moves in a blizzard? Second, when we stand, we are not going to back down. We are not in anybody's home. We are in our own home. Oh wait, we are in my home. Every place that this camp is, I rode horses as a child. Every place that all of these events are, I know. And most of the people from Standing Rock know. They live there. We are in our own home. From the Heart River to the Platte River to the Bighorns to the Missouri. 1851 is the supreme law of the land. And if you don't believe it, go to the Supreme Court. They will tell you again and again and again. It is the supreme law of the land. I think our dear governor needs to have an education. Because to me, all I've been asking from the beginning is to follow the law. Please follow the law. Please do a full environmental impact statement. Please follow the Historic Preservation laws. Please follow the Clean Water Act. Please follow the Environmental Protection Act. I have been asking, follow the law. So I really have a hard time when it is the law who is coming to do harm to our people, because I truly believe in the law. And what I see now is the law is not working. So what do you do with injustice? You stand up against injustice. You stand in prayer. You stand in the best way you can, but you stand. So the governor doesn't understand prayer. The governor doesn't understand that the real power is the people. And the real power has always been the people. Not a corporation. Not big oil. But the people. And I think we are seeing that today, where the people are saying, we need to change world thought, and this is the time, and this is now, and we are not standing down. We are in our home. We are strong, and we have prayer. So the governor has no idea what he's facing.
Taking a short Q&A. Get your coughs out now. All right, short Q&A. All right here.
Yeah, for the legal, I just want to ask two questions. One, specifically, does Governor Dalrymple have jurisdiction to be ordering any evacuations on Army Corps land, really native land, but as according to them, Army Corps land? Does he have jurisdiction? And secondly, can you expand on the lawsuit you filed today? It was an injunction. What those charges are, and where that case will be held.
As loud as you can, please.
Sure. The Water Protector Legal Collective does not believe that the governor has jurisdiction over the Army Corps land. We are aware that the Army Corps has extended a contract to Morton County Sheriff's Department. We don't believe that that's legal. They can only delegate that federal law enforcement authority to another federal agency. We believe that, you know, and we have had BIA in camp to handle certain law enforcement issues that have come up. That's not been, you know, a big part of what goes on at the camp, but there have been issues. And we believe that the governor is simply doing this to exercise his muscle in this situation that, you know, from his point of view, has needed to be reined in for months. And that's not how we see this issue, and we will litigate on this declaration if any kind of force or injunction is imposed on the camps. And we've talked about a number of possible scenarios and how we will respond if those come to life.
And the injunction you filed today against the Morton County Sheriff, could you explain that?
Sure. So after last Sunday, November 20th, when over 300 water protectors were injured, exposed